All right, Nick and Andy, big one in North London this weekend. Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester City. Spurs in the Champions League look great, Andy. But Frank is under serious pressure in the Premier League. I mean, what's that? 2 wins in the last 14. What is the main problem for Spurs? I mean, we've talked about it a lot, but at the moment, nothing's really changing, right? I mean, they in games, in certain spells of games, they look a bit better. Against Burnley last weekend, they should have been home and dry in the first half, but they weren't. Just a multitude of problems and just a real Jekyll and Hyde team from Champions League to Premier League.
Yeah, you say they've looked great in Champions League. I disagree a little bit. I think they've looked solid and functional in a way that they have been completely unable to do in the Premier League this season and last season as well, while they again went on to win the Europa League by simply just kind of being a functional team that was kind of tough to play against. I for all of the criticism that Thomas Frank is getting at this point, and there's a lot of it, I hang out on Spurs Twitter quite a lot, and I kind of give you guys little droplets of what's going on over there. He's getting a lot of criticism, but he has made them, in certain situations, solid defensively. And I think they're a little bit tougher to play against. A part of that is they typically play 3 defensive midfielders and a midfield 3, and that's hard to play through, and that's why they struggle to create chances. But it shows a little more in the Champions League, I think, just because the competition isn't as good, isn't as high, isn't as intense as the Premier League. And that's kind of something we've seen with a number of Premier League teams that'll struggle domestically or doing well on the continent. So I don't know. They're somewhere in between the two, I think is what I would say. They're not as bad as they look in the Premier League, just from they've got a handful of individuals that can win a game on a day. They're just not at the moment. And I think that's how they've been beaten a lot as well. And now that they're down, teams see it, I think, as an opportunity to, hey, let's pile on. And so, yeah, there's a lot wrong with Spurs. It's going to take years to fix it, though.
So just one quick thing, you got to give them a little bit of an excuse, at least in this instance. They went to Germany. Their bench literally had 4 dudes I've heard of. One because he's American backup goalkeeper. Another because it was the goalkeeper they emergency bought last year. Then Solanke and Scarlett. Like Byfield, Rousewell, Hardy, Olasesi, Hall, and Kiermaten. I watch the Premier League. I pay attention to Premier League 2 box scores, and there are names I haven't heard of. So I would ship them some vitamins and protein real quick.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big reason for the creative struggles, right? I mean, Kulusevski, Maddison, Solanke's not been there for most of the season. Bergval's gone down now. And again,
is out. Yeah.
And when you hire Thomas Frank, you know what you get. You're going to get a bit more pragmatism, direct. I think he's done a lot of things that you would expect. On the tin, this is what you get with Thomas Frank. You're going to be better at set pieces, check. You're going to be a bit more pragmatic and not as, flowing, shall we say, on the ball, check. You're going to be more direct. I think it's that last one, the direct thing, that Spurs actually have the players to play around teams and be more dangerous. And almost they need to be a bit braver to go more direct. And they're kind of stuck in between, we're Spurs, we're the great entertainers. We need to create and play football the right way. But I think he just needs to almost go full Frank and just go long and just be more direct. And that's where I've seen Tottenham against Burnley last weekend. They were bypassing midfield. Yeah. And then you have guys like Conor Gallagher running onto it and all the rest of it, Xavi as well.
Yeah.
Looks so much better. So that's what I would do going forward.
We're starting to see a bit more from Xavi now and Matisse Tell as well. Wilson Odobert, the last 3-4 games has been really solid. And so I think we are starting to see the beginnings of an attack. It's not cohesive yet. It's a bunch of individual players who are kind of making things happen on their own, and there's no flow and there's no real ideas and connectivity to it. And I think that's the missing part. And I think it's fair to say that's the part of Frank that we don't know if he's capable of, because at Brentford, he didn't have to do that. He had always had a superstar center forward that was going to score a bunch of goals on the counterattack. They were going to be very good defensively. And that's not how Spurs fans want the team to play. And 2, that's not what the squad looks like right now. They don't have that center forward type player. And so he is stuck kind of he is in a difficult position, I think. And that's something that we have lost sight of. The Spurs job is hard on everybody. And he has at least built, I think, a foundation that can, if he can set up an attack, maybe they could have a little success under him.
I mean, success for Man City, obviously we know what that looks like, Nick, winning trophies galore most seasons. And even with all their struggles this season, they are heading into this weekend, 4 points off leaders Arsenal. They've advanced in the Champions League to the round of 16 already. Not been great, not been consistent, but I think Pep Guardiola and everyone at City would be absolutely delighted to be in this position, given sort of the issues they've had, both with a lot of new players coming in this season in the summer and in January, the injuries, and just the general sort of weird form and weird results. I mean, they lost 2-0 at home to Tottenham early in the season. And kind of that game, I feel like, encapsulates a lot of the ways that they're still fragile, but they're still Man City. They still have so many great players, and the new signings in January is certainly going to help them.
Yeah, I can't imagine feeling bad for Man City. So, like, I don't want to give too much credit given the reinforcements they've had, but look at midweek. Semenyo and Gay, big pieces for them. They can't use them, and they just kind of go out there and handle their business. And they've been doing it with Haaland being out of form. Now, he scored the other day in the Champions League, and maybe that kicks him out of it. But whatever Arsenal's not doing in terms of the attackers being hungry and taking their chances, Doku, who's been so good earlier in the season, but had found himself, waiting to get in because of how well the other guys were playing. Foden had a run. Semenyo had showed up. He goes out there against Gala and is fantastic. So for whatever Pep is doing to say, hey, when you get your chance, take it, his guys are largely doing it. And I think it also helps right now that we are seeing Ryan Ait-Nouri, who is a left back, playing at left back. I mean, listen,
Riley can then play in midfield because of that.
And he was very good the other day too. And I don't think he's a left back. If Arsenal slip up, City is going to take it. Like that, to me, it's more about City's going to motor. We saw they did this to Liverpool a couple of years ago, where it was like, hey, that lead might be too much, and then Man City was like, all right, yeah, but we're just not going to lose anymore. So you guys, you have to do that too. It's a machine, and it's scary.
It's a different machine, though. I don't quite have the same confidence this season that they will go 15 games unbeaten between here and the end of the season. But they'll be right there for the rest of the season with Arsenal. And I think they have relished this situation so many times. And there's enough players around, Andy, that have experienced this and just know what to do to get over the line. It might not be pretty. It might not be vintage City, but they're going to get.
They're not at that part of the project yet with this team where the hay is in the barn, as they say. Like, there's still a lot of work to do and coming together and developing this team to get there. But I think it's very clear that if you just look at raw talent, they're probably tops in the league because they have 4, 5, 6 players who at any given point in their career, you wouldn't be surprised to say that's the best player in the world. And I don't think any other team in the league maybe Chelsea, because they have so many players. But no, I think it's they have grown a lot since the start of the season. And I think that gets lost because we expect the perfection of Pep and City from them.
Yeah, it's still a transition season, and they're still right up there, 4 points behind Arsenal heading into this weekend. Score prediction-wise, what are you going with, Nick Mandola?
Antoine Semenyo waited a solid 400 minutes to score ever against Spurs. And I think he's going to not wait that long again after scoring in the 90th minute of the last game. I'm going to go did I almost say 3? I'm going to go 2-0. 2-0 to Man City.
Andy?
Spurs are the second worst home team in the league this season. The only team worse is Wolves, who might go down as the worst team in Premier League history. But they won all 4 games at home in the Champions League. So, what does any of it mean? For the title race, I think City roll right on. I'll say 3-1. And I don't think Thomas Frank will get booed for that result either. Actually,
no, I was about to say this is one of those rare results where I'm going 2-1 to Man City. I think it'll be tight, but the full-time whistle. Then, if Spurs lose, there will not be many despondent Spurs fans leaving the stadium because they probably already expect it, and given their close neighbours and rivals Arsenal, the situation they're in. It was the end of the season before last, Andy, when that situation came up, and that was a weird game to be at. But yeah, not quite there yet, but this is a big moment, it feels like, with Arsenal really struggling, for now Man City to just kind of underline their experienced status in the title race and just put the pressure on and keep it on after this trip to Spurs this weekend. So head over to Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com for all the latest for this big one in North London. Spurs against Man City. It's going to be a beauty. This show has been a beauty. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Andy. Speak to you all very soon. Cheers, guys.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.